Nobody spoke sign language. Billionaire CEO was leaving. Until the maid's daughter signed fluently. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get into the story. The sleek, modern office of Thornton Industries towered over the city like a fortress. The glass windows reflected the blue sky, and the polished marble floors gleamed under the bright fluorescent lights. At the center of this world of luxury and power was John Thornton, the billionaire CEO, surrounded by a team of engineers, executives, and high-profile clients. Today, however, the meeting wasn't going as planned. The contract worth millions was on the line, but something was missing, something no one in the room could have anticipated. In the midst of the formal business conversation, a soft voice echoed from the corner of the room, startling everyone. It was the voice of a young girl, no older than 10, standing quietly by the door, her eyes downcast, almost invisible. She was Emily, the maid's daughter, and had been asked to stay out of sight while her mother worked in the background. She had been cleaning the meeting room, doing her job without drawing attention to herself. But today, her presence would change everything. No one had ever really noticed her before. She was just another child of the staff, her existence as invisible as the dust she wiped away every day. But when she saw the situation unfolding, something inside her told her to act. The CEO, John Thornton, was just about to leave the room. His frustration with the meeting was palpable, his face tense as he exchanged final words with his team. The project wasn't moving forward, the deals were falling apart, and the client was ready to walk out. And then, it happened. Emily, who had been quietly observing, noticed a sudden shift in the atmosphere. She saw the tension, she saw the uncertainty, and she saw the one thing no one else noticed. The client was trying to communicate in sign language. At that moment, everyone else in the room was silent. They didn't understand what was happening, but Emily did. She had been taught sign language by her mother, who worked with a deaf community. Emily had picked it up over the years, and without thinking, she stepped forward, catching everyone's attention. She signed fluently, explaining the misunderstanding and making the room aware of the importance of communication. The CEO, who had been ready to leave in frustration, stopped in his tracks. The client's face lit up as they began conversing in sign language, and suddenly, the mood in the room shifted. What no one had expected was that this young girl, the daughter of the maid, was the one who solved the problem everyone else had overlooked. In that moment, John Thornton realized that Emily, the invisible girl, had just saved the day and the deal. The room fell into stunned silence as Emily finished signing, and the billionaire CEO, John Thornton, stood frozen in place. His mind raced, trying to process what had just happened. A child, the daughter of the maid who had been cleaning the room, had just resolved the problem he and his team of experts couldn't even begin to understand. The room had been tense, the deal nearly slipping through their fingers, and yet this young girl had stepped forward and saved the day. She wasn't a negotiator, she wasn't a business expert, but she understood something that everyone else missed: communication. For a moment, everything seemed to pause as John Thornton watched Emily, her small hand still, holding the attention of everyone in the room. He had heard about people who could bring the unexpected to the table, but never had he imagined that a maid's daughter could have such an impact. As the client began nodding and speaking, Emily translated the details of the contract and the misunderstandings, all the while her tiny hands flowing with the ease of someone who had done this 1,000 times. John couldn't believe his eyes. How was it possible that someone so young, someone who was supposed to be invisible, could be so indispensable? He watched her with growing admiration. Emily's mother, a kind woman who had worked tirelessly to provide for her daughter, had never told him about her daughter's skills. He had never thought to ask. He had always assumed that people like Emily and her daughter were part of the background, the workers who came and went without ever being noticed. But today, everything had changed. The client smiled, shaking their head in disbelief. They had been impressed, not just by the offer, but by the sincerity and accuracy with which Emily had communicated. In a world where communication could make or break deals, Emily had bridged a gap that no one else had been able to cross. The tension in the room melted away, replaced by an unexpected warmth. John turned to his team, who were still recovering from the shock of what had just occurred. They exchanged looks, some of them still not fully understanding how a young girl had managed to turn things around. But John, always the businessman, knew one thing for sure. This was a game changer. As the meeting drew to a close, he approached Emily, who was quietly standing by, trying to stay out of the way once again. "You did a fantastic job," he said, his voice softer than usual. Emily looked up at him, startled. She wasn't used to being noticed. "Thank you, sir," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. John smiled, his mind already racing with possibilities. "I think it's time we had a conversation," he said. "About your future." Emily's eyes widened in confusion. She wasn't sure what he meant, but she knew one thing. She had never felt more visible in her life. As the days passed, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that everything had changed in that one moment. She had always felt invisible, just another child of the staff, someone who existed in the background while the world moved on around her. But now, everything was different. John Thornton, the billionaire CEO, had noticed her. He had complimented her, even suggested they talk about her future. Emily wasn't sure what he meant by that, but she knew it was a big deal. After that meeting, the entire office seemed to change whenever she was around. People began to smile at her when they passed by, and for the first time, she wasn't just another face in the crowd. She wasn't sure how to handle the attention, but it made her nervous. She still had her job to do, and she knew she had to focus on that. It was all she had ever known. Emily's mother, Abigail, had always told her that hard work was the key to success, that if you did your best and stayed humble, good things would follow. But this was different. Emily wasn't sure what was happening, but she felt the weight of the change pressing down on her. The next day, she was cleaning one of the offices when John Thornton himself walked in. He was dressed in a sharp suit, his usual confident smile replaced with a more serious expression. Emily froze, unsure of what to do. She had never spoken to him alone before. "Emily," he said, his voice warm but with a hint of something serious. "I wanted to talk to you about something." Emily felt her heart race. "Yes, Mr. Thornton?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "You've been here for a while now, right?" he continued, stepping closer to her. "Your mother works hard, and I know you've been helping her around the office. I've seen you here every day, doing your part." Emily nodded, unsure of where this was going. "The thing is," John went on, "I've been thinking about how valuable you are to this company, even if no one really knows it. You've got something special." Emily's eyes widened in surprise. She had always thought of herself as just a kid who cleaned up after the important people. She didn't see herself as anything special. "What do you mean, sir?" she asked, her voice shaky. John smiled. "I think you have potential. Your skill with sign language, the way you communicate, it's something we could use here. We're expanding, and I believe you could be an asset to our company, not just as someone who helps behind the scenes, but in a more visible role." Emily could hardly believe what she was hearing. The idea of working at the company, of having a real job here, was something she had never considered. "I'm just a maid's daughter," she said quietly, her insecurities creeping in. "I don't know if I'm cut out for something like that." John looked at her with a reassuring expression. "That's where you're wrong. Your background doesn't define you. Your skills, your willingness to help, that's what matters. I've seen that you have the drive and the heart to do more than just clean these floors." Emily stood there, unsure of how to respond. She had never imagined a future where she could do something more than just be invisible. But John's words made her feel like maybe, just maybe, she had something to offer. "So what do you say?" John asked, a hopeful look in his eyes. Emily took a deep breath, her mind racing with thoughts and possibilities. This was her chance, her moment to step out of the shadows and into a new life. "I'll do it," she said, her voice steady. "I'll give it a try." John smiled, clearly pleased with her response. "Good," he said. "We'll start with something small, but we'll make sure you get the training you need. You'll have a real role here, Emily." As Emily left the office that day, she felt a mix of excitement and fear. She didn't know exactly what the future held, but for the first time, she felt like she had a chance to shape it. She was no longer just the maid's daughter. She was someone with potential, someone who could be more than invisible. Emily's first day in her new role at Thornton Industries felt like stepping into a whole new world. Gone were the days of scrubbing floors and cleaning rooms in the background. Now, she was walking through the polished hallways of the company like she belonged, like her presence mattered. John Thornton had made good on his promise. She was given training, starting with learning how to assist in translating for meetings with international clients who spoke different languages, including sign language. The days were long, but Emily was determined to prove herself. She felt the weight of expectation on her shoulders, but she also felt something new: hope. Hope that she could be more than just the maid's daughter, more than just the girl no one noticed. Every day, she worked hard, pushing herself to learn faster and do more. She stayed late, practicing her skills, studying language books, and trying to learn the ins and outs of the company. And as the days turned into weeks, Emily's progress was undeniable. She was becoming an integral part of the team. Her interactions with clients and employees alike were becoming smoother, and John Thornton couldn't help but notice her dedication. Emily had a knack for understanding people. She knew when to speak up and when to stay silent, and her ability to translate between cultures and languages quickly made her indispensable. But with this new role came new challenges. Not everyone in the office was happy to see a young girl from humble beginnings suddenly climb the ranks. Some of the older employees, those who had worked at Thornton Industries for years, were skeptical of Emily's place in the company. They whispered among themselves, questioning whether someone like her truly belonged in such a high-powered environment. But Emily didn't let the whispers affect her. She kept her head down, focusing on her work. She knew that proving herself was the only way forward. She wasn't looking for approval. She was looking for respect. One day, during a meeting with a high-profile client, Emily's ability was truly tested. The client had a hearing impairment and needed someone who could communicate fluently in sign language. It was a crucial meeting, and the stakes were high. As the meeting progressed, the conversation grew more technical, and Emily's heart started to race. She had never translated such complex information before, and she worried that she might make a mistake. But she took a deep breath and signed with confidence, her hands moving quickly but surely, ensuring that nothing was lost in translation. When the meeting ended, the client turned to John Thornton with a smile. "Your company is lucky to have such a talented interpreter," the client said, their words full of praise for Emily. John Thornton looked at Emily, pride written all over his face. "Yes, we are," he agreed. In that moment, Emily realized that she had earned her place at Thornton Industries, not because she had been given a chance, but because she had proven that she belonged. The work she had done, the effort she had put in, and the way she had handled the challenges thrown her way had shown everyone, including herself, that she was more than just the maid's daughter. She was someone who could make a difference. As Emily walked out of the conference room, she felt a sense of accomplishment that she had never felt before. She wasn't invisible anymore. She had stepped out of the shadows and into the light, and she was ready to show the world what she was capable of. Weeks passed, and Emily's life at Thornton Industries continued to transform in ways she had never imagined. She wasn't just the maid's daughter anymore. She had become an essential part of the company. Her new role as a translator and cultural liaison grew more significant with each passing day. John Thornton had kept his promise, ensuring that Emily received the training she needed to thrive. She began assisting not only with sign language, but also helping with different projects, managing meetings with international clients, and even offering her insights during company brainstorming sessions. Emily had started to feel a new sense of pride, and as she looked at herself in the mirror every morning, she saw someone who was no longer just cleaning up after others. She was contributing. She had a purpose. One morning, as Emily arrived early for a meeting, she overheard some of the older employees talking. Their voices were low, but their words cut through the quiet halls. "Can you believe the nerve of Thornton?" one of them asked. "Promoting a kid who's never even been in the business world?" Another responded, "She's just the maid's daughter, remember?" The words stung, but Emily didn't let them show. She kept walking, her head held high. She had heard these whispers before, but now, they felt different. She wasn't just cleaning anymore. She was making a real impact. As the meeting began, John Thornton entered the room, his usual confident stride filling the space. He paused and gave Emily a nod, the kind of nod that meant he respected her. She smiled back, grateful for his unwavering belief in her. "Let's get started," John said, and the conversation turned to the new projects the company was embarking on. Emily had a seat at the table now, and she wasn't just an observer. She actively participated, offering suggestions and ideas that came from her unique perspective. Her insight was sharp, her contributions valuable, and the team began to listen. She had earned their respect. But not everyone was ready to accept her place at the table. A few of the older employees continued to question her presence. One of them, a senior executive named Thomas, frequently undercutting her suggestions. "That's an interesting point, Emily," he'd say with a forced smile. "But maybe someone with more experience should handle this." Emily could feel the tension, but instead of backing down, she met his dismissive comments with calm confidence. "I may not have the same experience as some, Thomas, but I've learned a lot since I started here," she said one day, her voice steady. "I believe I can offer something that could help us all." The room grew silent, and for the first time, Thomas had nothing to say. It was a small victory, but it was hers. John Thornton noticed the interaction, and after the meeting, he pulled Emily aside. "I saw that," he said, smiling. "You handled that with grace. Keep doing what you're doing. You've earned your spot here." His words felt like validation, and Emily's confidence grew. She was no longer just the maid's daughter. She was a part of this company, and more importantly, she was becoming someone who could change things. As the days passed, Emily's role expanded even further. She was given opportunities to lead small projects, to mentor others, and to represent the company at external events. Each new challenge was met with determination, and each time she succeeded, her place at Thornton Industries became more secure. But Emily never forgot where she came from. Every step she took forward was a reminder of the struggles her mother had endured and the hard work it had taken to get to this point. And as she looked at the future, she knew that this was only the beginning. She was ready to face whatever came next, no longer defined by her past, but by her ability to create change. As Emily continued to prove herself at Thornton Industries, her relationship with the team began to change. Once viewed as an outsider, she had now become a trusted and respected member of the company. But with success came new challenges. One afternoon, as Emily was preparing for a major presentation, she overheard a conversation that stopped her in her tracks. A group of executives, including Thomas, the senior manager who had often questioned her, were talking about the future of the company. "We need someone who has been in the industry for years, someone with the experience to take this company to the next level," Thomas said, his voice filled with certainty. Emily felt a pang in her chest. She had worked so hard to prove herself, but it seemed that some still didn't believe in her potential. She didn't have years of experience in the business world. She wasn't from a family of CEOs or high-powered executives. She was the daughter of a maid, someone who had started at the bottom and worked her way up. That night, as she sat at her desk, Emily struggled with self-doubt. Was she truly ready for the next step? Could she continue to rise in a world that still saw her as an outsider? Just as the thoughts began to overwhelm her, she received an email from John Thornton. The subject line read, "Your future at Thornton Industries." Emily hesitated for a moment before opening it. Inside, John wrote, "Emily, I've been watching your progress closely, and I'm impressed with your growth and determination. I know you've had your doubts, but I want to reassure you that you belong here. We're taking this company in a new direction, and I see you playing a key role in that. Let's meet tomorrow to discuss the next steps." Emily's heart raced as she read the message. This was the moment she had been waiting for. She had proven herself time and time again, but now it was time for John to put his trust in her fully. The next day, Emily walked into John's office with a sense of purpose. She had worked hard to get here, and now she was ready to take the next step. John was waiting for her, a smile on his face as she entered. "Emily, thank you for coming," he said. "I've been thinking about your future here, and I believe you're ready for more responsibility." Emily sat down, her nerves buzzing, but she held her composure. "I've been watching how you handle challenges, and I believe you have the vision and leadership skills to lead one of our new projects," John continued. "We're launching a new initiative to expand globally, and I want you to lead the team." Emily's mind spun. She had never imagined leading a project like this, but here it was, an opportunity to prove that she was more than just a young girl from a humble background. "I'm honored, Mr. Thornton," she said, her voice steady. "I won't let you down." John smiled, his eyes full of confidence in her. "I know you won't." This is your chance to show the world what you're capable of. As Emily left John's office that day, she felt a mix of excitement and fear. The weight of responsibility was heavy, but it was also the moment she had worked for her entire life. She was no longer the maid's daughter, the girl who had been invisible. She was a leader, someone who had earned her place at Thornton Industries. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but Emily was ready for it. She had proven herself, and now, she was going to prove to the world that anyone, no matter where they came from, could rise to greatness. Emily's first day leading the new global initiative felt like a dream. She had always worked hard behind the scenes, proving herself in small ways, but now, she was at the forefront. The team she was assigned to lead was filled with seasoned professionals, people with years of experience in the industry. Some of them, like Thomas, still looked at her with skepticism, but Emily was determined not to let that bother her. She had earned her place, and now it was time to show everyone, especially herself, that she was ready for this responsibility. The project was ambitious, with goals set to expand the company into new markets across Europe and Asia. Emily's team was tasked with developing strategies that would help the company connect with these international clients and set up new offices in major cities. The stakes were high, and the pressure was on, but Emily was not one to shy away from a challenge. Her first meeting with the team was intense. There were many ideas, many opinions, and not all of them aligned. Some wanted to take risks, others wanted to play it safe. Emily could feel the tension in the room, but she remained calm, her thoughts focused. As the team argued over the details, Emily spoke up. "What if we take a balanced approach?" she asked, her voice steady. "We can take calculated risks, but we need to be strategic. If we focus on understanding the culture and needs of each market, we can tailor our approach to ensure success. We don't need to take huge risks to win. We need to be smart." Her words hung in the air for a moment. Emily wasn't just offering a plan, she was offering a vision. It wasn't the boldest idea in the room, but it was clear, focused, and grounded in practicality. Slowly, the team began to nod in agreement. It was a moment of realization for them. Emily wasn't just the maid's daughter anymore. She was a leader with a clear vision and the ability to guide them forward. As the weeks passed, Emily worked tirelessly with her team. She made sure everyone felt heard, encouraging open communication and collaboration. She took the time to learn about each member's strengths and weaknesses, understanding what they brought to the table and how to maximize their potential. Despite the occasional doubts from some of her team members, Emily's leadership began to shine through. She managed to keep the project on track, and the results spoke for themselves. The company successfully opened new offices in 2 major cities and made significant strides in connecting with clients in those regions. The initiative was a success, and Emily was finally starting to feel like she was in control of her destiny. John Thornton, who had been keeping an eye on her progress, invited her to a private meeting one afternoon. "Emily," he began, "I've been watching how you've handled this project, and I'm impressed. You've not only led the team to success, but you've done it with integrity and vision. I knew from the moment we talked that you had something special, and now you've proven it." Emily felt a wave of pride wash over her. She had come so far from the girl who once felt invisible. "Thank you, Mr. Thornton," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without my team. They've been incredible." John smiled. "You're too humble, Emily. You led them. You made them believe in the vision. That's what great leaders do. And that's what you've done here." As she left the meeting, Emily couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. She wasn't just the maid's daughter anymore. She was a leader in her own right, someone who had earned respect and trust through hard work and dedication. The road ahead was still long, and there would be more challenges to face, but for the first time, Emily truly believed in her own potential. She had taken the leap, and now, she was soaring. Emily had come a long way, but the journey was far from over. As the global initiative she had led gained success, new opportunities and challenges began to surface. She was no longer the timid girl who cleaned the hallways, but a leader at Thornton Industries. Yet, with success came new pressures. The company had been rapidly expanding, and with the new projects, Emily found herself working longer hours, managing larger teams, and dealing with higher expectations. The weight of responsibility began to wear on her. One morning, after a particularly grueling week of meetings and strategy sessions, Emily sat alone in her office, staring at the stack of reports in front of her. The pressure was mounting. She had always prided herself on her ability to stay calm, but now, even the smallest task seemed daunting. She couldn't afford to make mistakes. Not now. Not when so many people were relying on her. As she sat there, lost in thought, the door opened, and John Thornton stepped in. "I thought I'd find you here," he said, his voice calm but understanding. "You've been pushing yourself hard." Emily stood up quickly, trying to mask her exhaustion with a smile. "I'm fine, Mr. Thornton," she replied, but even she could hear the weariness in her voice. John raised an eyebrow, clearly not buying it. "You're doing great, Emily. But you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. I brought you here for your vision, your leadership, not for you to burn out. You need to take care of yourself, too." Emily looked down at her desk, the words hitting her harder than she expected. She had been so focused on proving herself that she had forgotten to take care of the one person who mattered most, herself. "I know I'm putting a lot on you right now," John continued, "but I believe in you. I've always believed in you. I don't want to see you break under the pressure. If you need help, ask for it. Your success isn't just about what you can do alone. It's about the team you've built, the people who are here to support you." Emily felt a wave of emotion flood over her. She had been so afraid of disappointing everyone that she had forgotten that it was okay to ask for help. She had surrounded herself with a strong team, people who believed in her just as much as she believed in them. It was time to lean on them, to trust them. "Thank you," she said, her voice soft but sincere. "I needed to hear that." John smiled warmly. "You've got this. And remember, it's okay to take a step back when you need it. You've already proven more than anyone could have." Don't forget that. That night, Emily went home, and for the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to relax. She spent time with her mother, enjoying a quiet evening at home. It was a simple pleasure, but it was exactly what she needed. The next day, she returned to the office with a renewed sense of purpose. She knew she couldn't do it all alone, and now she was ready to embrace the support of her team. As the weeks went by, Emily began to delegate more, trusting her team to take on tasks that would have once been her responsibility alone. The results were incredible. With the added support, Emily was able to focus on the bigger picture, driving the company forward in ways she had never imagined. Her team thrived, and together, they achieved new levels of success. Emily had come to understand that leadership wasn't about doing everything herself. It was about empowering others, trusting them, and building a team that could achieve greatness together. She wasn't just a leader because of her skills or her vision. She was a leader because she knew how to inspire those around her, how to lift them up, and how to recognize when she needed to lean on them. The future of Thornton Industries was brighter than ever, and Emily knew that her journey had only just begun. She had come from nothing, but now, she was leading the charge into a new era of success. The road ahead would be challenging, but she was ready to face it, supported by the team she had built, and fueled by the confidence she had found in herself. Months passed, and Emily's life at Thornton Industries had transformed in ways she never thought possible. She had gone from being the quiet, unnoticed maid's daughter to a respected leader in the company. The global initiative she led had flourished, the team she built had thrived, and the company was now stronger than ever. But it wasn't just the business success that mattered to Emily. It was the personal growth she had experienced along the way. She had learned that leadership wasn't just about making decisions or managing a team. It was about trust, empathy, and the courage to admit when you needed help. Emily's journey had taken her far from where she started, but the lessons she had learned would stay with her for the rest of her life. One afternoon, as she sat in her office reflecting on everything that had happened, John Thornton walked in with a smile. "Emily, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for everything you've done. The success of this company over the last few months has been incredible, and you've played a huge part in that," he said. Emily smiled, but she couldn't help but feel a sense of humility. "It's been a team effort, Mr. Thornton. I couldn't have done it without everyone's hard work and support." John nodded. "That's true, but it was your leadership, your vision, that brought it all together. You've shown what it means to lead with integrity, and I'm proud to have you as part of this company." Emily's heart swelled with gratitude. It wasn't the praise that meant the most to her. It was the recognition that she had truly earned her place in this world, not just because of her skills, but because of who she had become along the way. She had proven that anyone, no matter where they started, could rise to greatness if they worked hard enough and never gave up. As the days went by, Emily continued to excel at Thornton Industries, but she never forgot where she came from. She stayed grounded, always remembering the sacrifices her mother had made to give her a better life. Her success wasn't just for her. It was for her family, for the people who had believed in her even when she couldn't believe in herself. Emily had found her purpose, and it wasn't just about climbing the corporate ladder. It was about helping others, inspiring them to believe in their own potential, and showing them that they, too, could rise above their circumstances. The future was uncertain, as it always is, but Emily knew one thing for sure. She was ready. She had faced the challenges, overcome the doubts, and emerged stronger than ever. She was no longer just the maid's daughter. She was Emily, a leader, a trailblazer, and a woman who had proven that with hard work, determination, and a little bit of belief, anything was possible. As she stood in the window of her office, looking out at the city she had helped transform, Emily smiled. The journey had only just begun. Inspiring millionaire stories often reveal how individuals overcome their humble beginnings to achieve great success. This story is no exception. A young girl, born into a life of invisibility, rises above the odds and proves that hard work, determination, and vision can lead to a future of greatness. Through dedication and a passion for helping others, she takes on a leadership role at a major company, showing the world that even the most unlikely people can make a huge impact. Along the way, she faces challenges and doubts, but with the support of a few key figures and her unwavering belief in herself, she transforms from being a maid's daughter to a powerful leader. These millionaire stories remind us that success is not about where you come from, but where you're willing to go. Emily's journey is a perfect example of how dreams can become reality, no matter how impossible they seem. Through hard work, she defies expectations and proves that anyone can succeed if they're willing to push through obstacles. These millionaire stories continue to inspire millions, showing that with persistence and courage, anyone can change their destiny. As Emily rises to the challenge, she becomes a living testament to the power of determination, reminding us that the road to success is not always easy, but it is always worth the effort. Like many other millionaire stories, Emily's journey inspires hope and motivation for those who feel like they might never get their big break. Her story proves that perseverance and believing in yourself are the keys to unlocking success.